New York City just opened a new window for sexual assault survivors to sue. Attorney Andrew M. Stengel. Here's what you need to know. If you were sexually assaulted or abused in New York City before January 9th, 2022, a new law may give you the right to sue. Even if you've never filed a lawsuit, even if your abuser was never arrested, and even if years or decades have passed since the abuse occurred. On January 29th, 2026, New York City's Gender Motivated Violence Act was expanded with a new provision. New York City Administrative Code Section 10-1104.1 that reopens the courthouse doors for survivors who previously had no legal recourse. You now have until July 29th, 2027 to file a civil claim. What is the Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Law? The GMVA is a New York City law that allows survivors of gender-based violence, including sexual assault and rape, to bring civil lawsuits against the people who harmed them and the institutions that enabled the abuse. Unlike a criminal case, which the government brings and controls, a civil lawsuit is brought by you. You're seeking accountability and financial compensation directly for the harm done to you. And critically, civil lawsuits use a lower standard of proof than criminal cases. You don't need a beyond a reasonable doubt conviction. You only need to show the abuse more likely happened than not. What changed in January 2026? In 2022, the New York City Council updated the GMVA to allow survivors to sue not just individual abusers, but institutions, schools, hospitals, detention centers, employers that enabled or failed to prevent the abuse. A lookback window ran from March 2023 to March 2025, but a court ruling later held that some of those rights didn't apply retroactively to abuse before January 9th, 2022. Over 450 lawsuits, many by survivors of abuse at city-run juvenile detention facilities, were dismissed. The New York City Council responded by passing Introduction 1297A. The City Council overrode a mayoral veto, and the law took effect on January 29th, 2026. It creates a brand new civil cause of action for abuse that occurred before January 9th, 2022. Explicitly includes institutions, government agencies, and enablers as potential defendants. Allows survivors who filed cases between March 2023 and March 2025 that were dismissed to refile, gives all qualifying survivors 18 months until July 29th, 2027 to come forward. Why does this matter? Trauma can delay disclosure for years or decades. The law recognizes this reality and gives survivors the time they actually need to come forward. The legal system has historically failed sexual assault survivors by demanding they act quickly, often before they've processed what happened, before they feel safe, and before they understand their rights. This law is a direct acknowledgement that trauma doesn't follow a legal calendar. For survivors of childhood abuse, institutional abuse, or assaults by people in positions of power, this window may be the first real opportunity they've ever had to hold someone accountable in court. What kinds of cases does this cover? Courts in New York have held that sexual assault and non-consensual sexual contact are, by definition, acts motivated by the victim's gender. This means the GMVA effectively covers rape and sexual assault, sexual abuse by doctors, coaches, clergy, teachers, or other authority figures, abuse at schools, juvenile detention centers, group homes, or other institutions, workplace sexual violence, domestic violence with a sexual component. What should you do now? If you were sexually assaulted or abused in New York City before January 9th, 2022, the most important thing you can do right now is consult with an attorney who specializes in this area. The 18-month window will not be extended again. You don't need a police report. You don't need a conviction. You just need to be willing to tell your story to someone who will fight for you. This consultation is free and confidential. You have nothing to lose by finding out if you have a case, and potentially everything to gain. The deadline is July 29th, 2027. Don't wait. Schedule a consultation with us by emailing info@stengellaw.com. For more information, please visit our website, stengellaw.com. Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.